got everything under one roof.
I would recommend it because it is the best event actually in the world.
It's been fantastic being here today. Being so close to the cars and the parts and talking to people, it's been sweet. Yeah, really good.
Hello and welcome to the final day here at Autosport International 2023, Europe's biggest motorsport event.
Yeah, we're saving the best till last with some of the biggest names joining us for this, the final day.
Yes, it's a day when some of the biggest names from the past will rub shoulders with some of the up-and-coming stars of the future. So, start up your engine, let's go.
Coming up today, we meet the Flying Scot. Three-time world champion Sir Jackie Stewart talks motorsport memories.
I go shopping for modifications that could make your car a winner.
I find out how to make it big in the new world of digital motorsport.
And I meet the stars of the 2023 live-action arena show.
Now, all of us motorsport fans have memories, things that got us hooked in the sport, maybe even reduced us to tears, or could be a combination of both. And here at Autosport International 2023, there was a lovely exhibit featuring these amazing memories put forward by you, the fans. They're put forward, then whittled down to a shortlist by a panel of judges, including Sir Jackie Stewart himself, and then put back out to you to vote. And the top 10 made it here to this lovely exhibit for us all to see. But it didn't end there, you see. The images then auctioned off to raise money for a very worthwhile cause, Race Against Dementia.
I'm Bridget Barker and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Race Against Dementia. Well, Race Against Dementia is a charity that was set up by Sir Jackie Stewart about 6 years ago, when very sadly his wife, Lady Stewart, was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. And he took her all around the world to see the best doctors that he could possibly find. And sadly, he was told there's no cure. There's no way we can prevent this deterioration. So he was very upset about that. And being involved with Formula One, he said, look, there must be a solution. We must be able to solve this problem. So he's trying to apply Formula One principles in dementia research to find a cure or some kind of prevention for dementia. So Jackie is a force of nature. This is a man who can't read or write. He's done so much with his life and nothing is too difficult for him. He says he wants a cure for dementia before he dies. She's 84 next birthday, so we've got to get going.
Now, I got to meet Sir Jackie Stewart himself and ask him about some of these memories here in the exhibit. And I began by asking him about his own motorsport moment, the 1968 German Grand Prix. Sir Jackie, you've made it onto this exhibit twice now, two of your images from the memories that fans voted on of their memories of you racing. And one of them, this one here, came third on all the voting. Now, this moment here, to me, is the 1968 German Grand Prix. You won by 4 minutes.
But 4.4.
4.4, there you go. And to my understanding as well, you had a broken wrist as well.
Yeah, this one here, the scaphoid, and it took, well, actually months to repair. And I got a man in Switzerland to, every time on a Thursday night, I took the plaster off and he put this new device that he had designed on, so I could hold the steering wheel and work in the till at that time. The right hand side was the gear shift. So if it had been a dry race, I don't think I would have won the race, because the amount of energy going in and the G-forces, when it was raining, there's a totally different level of G-force. No, today the race would never be started. It was ridiculous. You couldn't see very distance at all. I mean, look at that visibility. Yeah. And of course, the spray from a Formula One car is heavy.
We look at the safety aspect along here, and there's no safety.
No barriers there, no deformable structures there. Yeah. But that was when I started to work on safety, because so many of my friends were killed. I mean, we lost a think Helen, my wife, and I lost 58 or 59 people who we had holidayed with or travelled with or raced with. It was ridiculous.
Well, I mean, you were pioneering. It's so instrumental in making the sport where it is today, really, with the safety, bringing it all to the fore and making it such an important conversation.
Well, it was not a popular. I mean, in fact, I had death threats because of closing the Nürburgring, because the economy of the Eifel region is largely to do with the Nürburgring. And but I mean, how could you get 14.7 miles per lap? Now, you've got to have marshals and firefighters on both sides of the track, so they just couldn't do it. And to begin with, everybody said, oh no, we've got to keep racing at the Nürburgring. And luckily, I was leading the thing at that time. I'm president of the GPDA. And luckily we got the thing stopped. And it was a very unfortunate period, but it turned the safety program round completely. So, I mean, today we have wonderful safety in Formula One. Medical facilities are good, firefighting is better, more fire extinguishers, etc. So, no, times have changed.
Thankfully, the times have changed. But when you look at this image here, and we remember it in certain ways. We kind of take this image here. We know exactly in our minds what it conjures up. For your memory of this race, is there something that you remember from this race that we wouldn't possibly know?
Well, I had one spin that nobody seems to know about. Water, and I mean the water was this deep at parts, and it just aquaplaned, and I spun, and I luckily managed to keep it together and point it in the right direction. I just missed a marshal as well at the same time. No, it was hideous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And of course, I didn't know the lead I had anyway. There was no point in Ken Tittle telling me the lead. So I was out the car and finished before anybody else arrived. So it was probably my best race ever.
It's a phenomenal race. It's a phenomenal memory. It's so nice to see it on the board here as well, and having so many people as well picking this memory as the third most popular of all. Second place was the 1966 Ford versus Ferrari 24-hour Le Mans race, won by Bruce McLaren and his fellow New Zealander Chris Amon in the GT40. I'd like to get your thoughts on another memory, and that is of a fellow Scot for you, a man who became the youngest ever champion in the World Rally Championship. That record lasted until this 2022 when Kalle Rovanperä took it. It was Colin McRae's moment here in 1995, became the youngest ever World Rally Champion, but also the first British champion.
And Scottish.
And Scottish, exactly.
Cross.
And Scottish too, yeah. But you know what it's like. You know us Brits. You know when it's a successful Scot, they're British, right?
Correct. No, he was a real Scot.
Tell me your memories of not just this moment, but of Colin McRae himself.
Well, Colin I knew quite well, and I knew his daddy very well as well. So it was a great family of motorsport, because his father was a very successful rally driver as well as the son. He was a great driver. He had great spirit and a great ambassador for our country.
And sadly, it went too early as well.
Yeah, it's a sad thing in a helicopter of all things. So it's just one of those sad experiences you hope never occur.
Isn't it strange though that even looking at the car, the blue Subaru Impreza with the gold wheels, you know, that he had, and it became an iconic car, and people still look for Subaru Imprezas, these blue ones, and they stick the gold wheels on and try and emulate Colin McRae.
No, absolutely. Colin and his whole family, and as Scots, we were all proud of him.
I think it's fantastic to get your thoughts on these guys, because it's nice hearing from one legend talking about other legends as well.
Well, you know, Scotland's a wee country, and yet we've got Jim Clark, we're doing Innes Island, we've got, you know, Marion, you know, a lot of top racing drivers. Dario Franchitti winning Indianapolis many times. Jim Clark, of course. Innes Island, another Grand Prix winner. For a wee country, we had an awful lot of good racing drivers. Maybe because the roads in Scotland are pretty narrow in some places, and so I don't know. There's something about the Scot, the canniness of a Scot, and I think we're going to see some more Scottish drivers come along. I hope.
I think so. You think Alan McNish, David Leslie, all these people as well.
Very successful, and we've been. It's been a very rich country in that respect.
Well, how about that? Some incredible memories there on the exhibits, on the walls, and also great to hear the thoughts of that man, Sir Jackie Stewart. What a legend he is. Did your memory make it onto the wall?
Right, so I've made my way over now to the Goodrich stand, and you'll see Carl here stood beside me. You're going to tell us all about what you guys do.
So yeah, at Goodrich we do fluid transfer systems for racing, for performance, and for OEMs. So we're a global company. We have 10 sites around the world, and we specialise in anything that moves fluid from one place to another on a vehicle. We work at top-end motorsport right the way down through to your amateur racers. So we have a wide variety of customers and a big spectrum of people that use our product. The company's been going 52 years.
Wow.
And not a lot of people know that we were the first ever company to put braided hoses on a race car in the world. So there's a bit of history there as well. So
absolutely, yeah, a lot of heritage there as well. And you mentioned a bit earlier you used to race bikes then, so you're perfectly placed then to tell us why this product is actually, so unique and why it's so good and why people need to know about you.
So for us as a racer, and everybody knows who's raced, you want to use the best product. Goodrich has a historical of being the best in the market at fluid transfer systems. We've worked with so many high-end people across the world, and the founder Stuart Goodrich, basically it was his vision for Goodrich to be providing the best quality lines to stop to the vehicle, so less expansion, better feel through the pedals. And obviously the company's evolved. Now we're doing battery cooling systems with EV, hybrids work. So it's not just about brakes anymore for Goodrich. We have to move with the technology. So we have a team of people that constantly are developing our product to be in line with, future racing, hybrid. Like for instance, we work in British Superbikes, British World Touring Car, and World Rally. So it's a high pressure product, and if any of our product fails, it can cause massive consequences, which, that's why quality is so important to us.
So what is the future going to bring then? What's on the horizon for Goodrich? I'm sure you've got lots of exciting things up your sleeve.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of stuff we can't talk about because we're working 3, 4, maybe 5 years ahead with certain people. But I think as the electric era comes into, some of our OEM customers, we're already working with like pure electric cars, and they still need brakes, they still need cooling systems, active aero, suspension. It's all still there, but it's just a different concept. So the fluids that you move, or the gases you're moving around, have changed. So the parameters and the quality of the product has to change with it. So our guys literally are working to develop new standards, new product. Because if we don't, we're just going to end up not moving ahead with the rest of the world. And racing is where it all begins. We all know that. And Goodrich's heritage is racing. So that's really important to us.
Really interesting stuff. Well, of course, Autosport International is the perfect place for you to be speaking to your customers, to be, creating new contacts and the like. How's it been for you this year then?
It's been really good, actually. I think yesterday I had 20 minutes where I wasn't actually with a customer or a client, so I didn't even manage to get off the stand for lunch. And it is really good, and that's why we've been at this show for, I think, probably 20 years. So it's really good. Yeah, I mean, I've been with the company 5 years, but I've used the product since I was 5 years old.
Wow. Gosh.
So
you're a big believer.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about what we do, and everybody in our business, like Liam, a motorsport sales engineer, we're all passionate about racing. We're all, our OEM guys, they love the fact that we are working with these people that make such prestigious vehicles, and that's where we are. But we also love the fact that we can go to the paddock and speak to the club racers, and it's just, yeah, and we know our product's there, and for us we've got a quality product that is been quality for 52 years.
There's no better testament than that then, is there? I can see the passion and the enthusiasm for the products and Goodrich as a brand. Thank you very much for your time today, Carl. We'll leave you to go and talk. I know you've got a queue of people waiting to talk to you, so thank you for your time, and let's go and check out what else is happening at the show.
Well, esports is such a big area, isn't it, in 2023? It's been growing for quite a few years, particularly over the pandemic to where it is right now, with some amazing championships and amazing races as well. And one big company that supply the kit for you to race, and a whole lot more as well, is Digital Motorsports, based over in Ireland. You've probably heard of them, and if you haven't, you're about to find out what makes them so good. Laura, tell me a little bit about Digital Motorsports then.
Yeah, so we're digitalmotorsports.com. We are a sim racing company, so we're mostly an e-commerce store, but we also have an events section as well, so we do events activation and team building. We, about a year and a half ago, merged with ESE Entertainment, so they're a publicly listed company, so if you're interested in investing in sim racing and esports, you can do it through them. We've been growing a lot over the last year. Sim racing is such a huge thing, it's becoming so popular, and that's us. We're obviously here for the week to promote a lot of sim racing products. We have a lot of launches as well. We've got a lot of UK firsts and one world first as well. So we're really excited to talk to you guys about that.
We'll come to that in a minute with Rob, I know, when we have a look around at the rigs themselves. A lot of people here, a lot of interest in what you're doing, but also in the company as well. A lot of people have heard of you, but they've never met you.
Yeah. A lot of people have heard of us. It's really good to meet everybody as well, because we're an online company, so it's really nice to actually physically meet people. They know who we are now, and I think a lot of people just want to have that chat to understand what these sims do and how it can help them develop as a racing driver or just have fun with as well.
It's fantastic. I'm going to go and speak to Rob and find out some of the kit. Laura, Thank you very much indeed. I know the company a couple of years ago presented the Digital Motorsports World Cup, a brilliant event over in Poland, and it highlighted just how good these racing drivers are. Rob, good to see you here. I'm very well, thank you. Now, I love what you've got here. You've got a really good example of these different rigs. Now, if I'm new to esports racing and I want to get a rig in my house rather than just playing on my controller, you've got a whole progression. Talk us through, first of all, the kit that's here.
Okay, so what we've got here, this is a new chassis from Eau Rouge. It's, as you can see, it's very, very lifelike to what you would be if you go down to your local karting track in one of the competitive karts. So you've got a set of Hoosenfeld pedals on it with a SimiCube Pro wheelbase. Both pieces of kit are absolutely fantastic, very, very realistic, and kind of really does replicate the feeling of being in a kart while being at home.
And would you say this is kind of a decent level, or is it kind of the entry level?
No, this is kind of more on the upper level of the kart sim side of things. Kind of coming over, we want to show us in our best light, and it was bringing kind of some of the top manufacturers in the market with us this weekend.
It looks absolutely amazing. And then we move on as well, because this is more of the kind of drifting by the look of it. It's more of the kind of the rig that I'm used to seeing in a standard house, really, almost with like a play seat to one form or other.
Yeah, absolutely. So this chassis, it's one of our bundles that we have on our website. So it is the Drift Rally bundle. So it's a nice kind of start entry point, nice small footprint. So it's a SimLabs GT1 Evo chassis. The bigger brother we'll see in a moment, but it has that nicer, smaller footprint, and kind of when you're putting it into the spare room, it makes it that little bit easier. And it is great. We've been working with the guys from Acetec, so we've got a pre-production model of their Forte wheelbase and their Forte pedals this weekend. Really, really nice pieces of kit, and yeah, this kind of would be kind of the entry level when you move away from your consoles. This is kind of where we'd be directing you to.
As somebody who's done a little bit of drifting in my time, not much, a little bit of drifting. It's good to see how accurate it is as well. Now we're going to kind of we'll dance across this, but have a quick look at it as well, because I mean this looks much more kind of F1 styly, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a Play-Seat chassis made in conjunction with the Mercedes Formula 1 team. So you know, all the marketing photos you see, it's Valtteri Bottas in this sim, so it is used by the Formula 1 drivers. As you see, we've got more of the Acetec gear here. So we've got the Forte Formula wheel, again, another pre-production model with the Invicta wheelbase. So it's the next level up from the previous sim. And again, the pedals are the next step up. They're the Invicta pedals. Again, really nice piece of kit. Screen's a little bit bigger, more real estate. You can see what you're doing. Yeah. But again, for people who are wanting to do more Formula driving, this is the place to go.
And then we go, let's move on here, and then we go into the absolutely bonkers setup, really.
Yeah, so this is the one, it's all singing, all dancing. Ronan, our resident racing driver, is putting it through its paces here. So it's more of a case of what this doesn't have. So we've got a full D-Box Gen 5 motion system. So it really does give the feeling of being in the car, along with the all-new SimiCube active pedals. So we've had the guys from SimiCube over with us this weekend, getting those set up. So they've now developed the software for in the pedals. You can feel the feedback of ABS, so it's bounced under your foot, and when you push it a little bit too far and traction control kicks in, you can feel that's actually pushing you back off the throttle.
There's so much force feedback going around Brands Hatch as well. He's about to dip down paddock at the moment. You get a real sense of it, and you see this way the seat's moving too. It's really good because you get the force feedback. It's really nice as well that you've got such an accurate way to train as well. And what I really love about esports is you get a lot of these drivers who are able to train and train and train for hours on end. There's no worry about tyres. There's no worry about the cost. You've got the rig and off you go.
Yeah, so like we've put some of our brand ambassadors in, couple of guys that are heading off doing a GT4 next year, jumped in. It's a new Bavarian Simtech wheel that we've got, brand new, really nice piece of kit, really premium without the premium price tag, and it just, as you can see, it looks worth every penny, and we've got the top end SimiCube direct drive. That's the ultimate we've got on here. Like I said, this one is all singing, all dancing. It's everything we want in a sim.
Couple of exclusives for us as well, because you brought some stuff over that is new on these shores, really.
Yes, absolutely. So like I said, we've got the SimiCube active pedals. That's a UK first, and then we've the world first with the hands-on performance hand control device. So that was developed by the guys at Hands-On Performance. Very simple product to use. You see it here just beside Ronan. So it is very simple to use. Pull back for throttle, push away for the brake. It's absolutely brilliant. We've had a couple of guys come in who don't have use of the pedals, come in, jump into the sim, and immediately start putting down good lap times.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see, Rob. Thank you very much indeed. There you go. So it gives you a big cross-section, an idea of where you can start with the kart setup to the more similar kind of home rig that you're used to seeing, all the way through to the big boy down here. Fantastic to hear from Digital Motorsports. It's great they're here at the show, so do come and check them out. And if you aren't able to get to the show, just check out Digital Motorsports, looking up on any well-known search engine. Well, we've seen all the kit and what you can put in your house, but what about how you get into esports itself? Well, one man who knows exactly how to race is Shanika Clay from Williams, and I began by asking him how his career began.
Yeah, I think I've had a little bit of a different journey into esports than a lot of others. I used to be a professional driver in real life as well, like doing karting and a little bit of car racing here and there. I did that for about 8 to 10 years, and then I sort of did a little bit of gaming on the side, and then I slowly started getting a bit more interested, doing a bit of league racing, and apparently I was good enough at esports, so here I am.
It's an interesting journey, isn't it, with esports? Because I think it was going well, should we say, and then when COVID hit, it just suddenly went through the roof. The opportunities, the fact it became a really professional sport and that kind of thing. So for you, the opportunity with Williams, how did that come about?
Yeah, it was during that COVID period. Yeah, as you say, it went through the roof, and with the virtual GP stuff, getting the real life drivers and celebrities involved, it built the profile so much. And that was at the time I was trying to get myself into the door, and Williams Esports at the time needed a driver to step in and help out, and they were very gracious enough to give me that opportunity as someone who was not so known to the scene. I went out and did a good job, won the race, and the rest is history from there. And yeah, joined the team officially a couple of years later, so yeah, grateful for the chance, and I'm still here. So.
What does it mean to be a professional esports competitor, driver as you are in this case here? When we talk esports, I mean, there's so many different areas, aren't there? But in the motorsport side of things, what is your day-to-day looking like?
Yeah, it's very different. I think it's an emerging sort of job and sport, it's a bit different for everyone, and especially with COVID, it's still recovering from what it was. We're not so much at the factory these days, but there's very much a mixture between working at the factory and at home, and trying to keep the connection in whatever way you can with the team. But yeah, day to day, it's a lot of hours, seriously a lot of hours, probably 1,000 hours per game to try and get yourself up to that level. So it's seriously competitive, but you have to put the time in to get the results.
One thing I found amazing a few years ago when I was doing the Le Mans Esports series was how incredible these drivers are. I mean, they do not make mistakes. It's incredible, and the lap times are so consistent. And part of that is the fact that with esports, you have unlimited testing essentially. As long as you can stay awake, you can sit in the rig and race. So you can just do lap after lap after lap. Does that make it, I'm presuming it does that make it harder to compete because everybody's got the same opportunity, the same essentially equipment they can race in, and they can practice each lap to the same degree?
Yeah, definitely. I think you see how crazy close the esports scene is in whatever series you look at, especially F1 esports. You know, there's a tenth between the top 20 drivers or so, and it's exactly that. Everyone has the same opportunity, so you can't afford to, you know, sleep and allow the person behind you to overtake you. So it's very much staying on the ball, and that's where like the mental and the physical coaching comes into play. It's very much becoming an important thing in the esports world now to keep you at your optimal for longer, so you can keep on grinding basically.
So what's next for you then this season, 2023? What are we looking at for Shanika Clay?
Who knows? We have a couple of ideas for a series we might want to step into, but nothing confirmed yet on a couple of different games. But you can guarantee you'll see me on the F1 game competing in the high level leagues with the F1 esports drivers as well. So that'll be fun. Maybe try my hand at Assetto Corsa again. But yeah, let's wait and see.
Great stuff. We shall keep our eyes on you. Thank you so much for checking in with us, really.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Still to come, we look at what Autograss has to offer.
I'm backstage with the stars of the live action arena.
And we take a look ahead to Autosport International 2024. You know what, this show changes a fair bit overnight on a Friday night going into the weekends in the NEC, because Autograss come in with a huge amount of cars for us to have a look at. And it's not just cars, we've got the tubular frames here. We're going to find out a little bit more from the National Autograss Association. We've got Chris Allenson here. It's great to see you. It's a really nice thing to see you here at the show, because this show is great for the motorsport fans, and Autograss is perfect for motorsport enthusiasts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we race up and down the country. We race England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland. There's 3,000 odd members racing. Very much family orientated. We can cater for all sort of tastes and budgets. So we've got saloon cars, we've got single seaters, we've got cars for the kids that start at 10 years of age. And there's sort of a progression through that where you start maybe in a saloon and then go into a little single seater. And then obviously up to the more advanced cars where we've got like a mini pickup with 2 motorbike engines in, or a big Chevy. So it's a good range.
For those who don't know what Autograss actually is, give us an overview.
So we race on open fields. We've got a dirt surface, a bit like speedway for motorbikes, if you like, if you understand that. Oval tracks, straight line starts, 8 cars in a race, 5 lap races usually. Fast and furious, you know, really quite aggressive sort of racing, yeah.
Now, you mentioned who it appeals to, really, and the fact you can have husband, wives, you know, father and kids, mother and kids coming in and racing and sharing a car. That makes it affordable, it makes it family friendly.
Yeah, it's very affordable. And obviously, I mean, my daughter races, my sons race, my grandkids race. So when you go to a meeting, my grandkids are down in south of the country and I'm up north. So we get to see each other on a weekend racing. So very much family orientated.
We'll have a look around some of the cars in just a few moments. But if I want to get into Autograss, what do I need to do?
So you would find out where your local club is. Near here, there are 2 or 3 clubs around Birmingham, at Evesham and at Radford. You would buy a licence, about 60-70 quid for the year for the licence, and then typical entry fees are £10 or £15 through the gate on the day. So it's not mega expensive. Circuit racing might be 300-400 quid to just go, and then that's just maybe dad racing. So obviously the family can go in as a car full and get a day's racing for a lot less money.
You've mentioned some of the cars already, but let's take a little sneak peek around them as Rob will wander off, I'm sure. But talk us through some of the cars that are here and what makes them so, I suppose, unique. A lot of them are all space frames, aren't they? Stripped out cars.
Yeah, so I mean, if you started with the one we just mentioned, the twin-engined Class 10, so that's a space frame chassis, all tubular. Safety is obviously a paramount, and then it's got 2 engines in, mounted in the rear-wheel drive, just phenomenal thing. And then if we move across to the one next to me now, the gold-coloured SC13, that's an old car. It's an old body shell. So it's an A40 body shell. It's 60 years old is the shell, but underneath it, it's a tubular space frame. So again, it's running a Chevrolet V8 engine, somewhere around 450 horsepower. So again, a big power car, much modified, what we call a Class 3. If you then go to the one next to that, YD66, that is the starter class single-seater. So that's what we call a Formula 600, 600cc motorbike engine, no modifications to it, pretty much restricted. Further across you've got the P3 car, so that is what we call a stock hatch. That's an entry-level class, so that's 1600cc front-wheel drive saloons. Again, you put a roll cage in, no modifications allowed at all, hence the word stock. So the stock hatch side of it, that's a good entry level, and again, mum and dad can race it, you know, there's no issues with that at all, sharing. So that's a Yaris. Typical thing you see in the street, put a roll cage in it, it's bog standard. Mum, dad and the kids can race that. So that's a car which three of you could race. And there are people, I believe that car is shared by a family and all three of them race, mum, dad and the kids. So the value, I mean, it's tremendous. You turn up at a meeting, you only need one trailer, you need a car and a trailer, get yourself there, and then we can all race. And it's all inclusive. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Everybody gets the same buzz.
So my question for you with this is, are there companies or organisations, if I was interested in getting a car, that I can get someone to fully source me a car and fully build it, or is it a kit that I buy off of somebody?
So there are several companies building the cars in kit form or fully built. You've also got the option, obviously, of buying a second-hand car. On the Facebook pages and things within our sport, there's plenty of cars for sale. Typically, I mean, this is a junior special that we stood next to now, so it's a specific car for the kids to race. They run a Vauxhall Corsa engine, 4, 5, 6 grand, top sort of car, 6 grand, you know, a real front-running car. But then that car will last you a long time.
Yeah, so freestyle motocross is quite hard to get into, to be fair. There's not like anywhere you can go within the country that has like a facility that you can just kind of sign up and have a go at. So we're very fortunate. I ride for a team called Bulldog FMX. We have our own training facility, and I got, again, very lucky to meet the guys involved in that, and it's kind of progressed into where we are today here at Autosport.
Well, the live action arena has gone from strength to strength over the years. We've been, I think this is our 19th year working for Autosport on the show. And it literally has grown exponentially over the years. The quality of the performers and the vehicles that we're getting now, and the stunts with Terry and the Maltese drifters, it's got to be seen to be believed. Very, very good.
There have been a couple of near misses, shall we say, yeah. I guess, you know, with freestyle, you are kind of trying to push the boundaries every time you get on the bike, so that, yeah, it does. I mean, we're only human at the end of the day, so there are a couple of near misses. As long as we keep those to a minimal and we're controlling them to the point that we stay on the bike, it's all good.
It's a captivating show. I mean, there's always plenty of action. If you love motorsport, there's nowhere else that I know of that you can go to see all the different genres of motorsport all in one place at one time.
So we love being a part of Autosport simply because of the talent that's in the main arena. It's a big draw for us. We love being involved with athletes at the top of their game, so that's great for us. And to be honest with you, getting out there and meeting the people and the atmosphere here is definitely a pulling point for us. So
it's the premier racing car show in Europe. I mean, it's so well known throughout, and in the halls you've got everything from Formula One right the way through to oval racing. There's something for everybody.
So there you go, there's a huge team involved behind the scenes and out on the show floor that goes into putting this incredible show on. It's certainly not for the faint-hearted.
4 days have gone in a flash here in Birmingham NEC for Autosport International 2023. I can't believe it's over. Ben, this has been your brainchild. I was going to say love child, but that's a totally different thing, isn't it? But the brainchild of you, you've created this with a really good team. What's it been like for you looking back on the last 4 days?
It's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've said to the team already, it's an event for us all to be proud of, the motorsport industry to be proud of as well. We've had a huge collaboration of everything from national motorsport right up to Formula One that's coming along. So we're really looking forward to making some changes to the event for next year, which we'll hopefully let people know about as that starts to plan ahead. But for 11th to the 14th, of January in 2024. Can't wait to open our doors again.
Yeah, it's been so nice to see people back here in these halls of the NEC and all these cars together. It's been a monumental task for you guys putting this back on. 2 years off is no mean feat to come back. You almost have to start from zero, don't you?
You absolutely do. I think what people don't quite understand is when you run events, they're not done 3 months before everything gets kicked off. It's done 12 months, sometimes even 18 months before. Even 2 or 3 months ago, I was already thinking about what we're going to do, what we're going to introduce, what we're going to bring back. We listen to the feedback of what people have said from visitors all the way through to exhibitors. Again, like I said to you before, I'm a motorsport guy myself, from track days to racing cars. I want to take pride in what I'm producing. I want to get people into the sport as much as possible and enjoy it. So that's certainly my aim.
So that's it. The 2023 motorsport season is officially underway.
Yeah, and that's a wrap for Autosport International 2023. What an event it's been.
It really has. We hope that you've enjoyed our daily shows. I know that we've enjoyed working on them, and we hope that we'll see you here back next year.
Yeah, ASI 24 is here January the 11th to the 14th, so we hope to see you there.
See you then.